Hey there. Hey, I've got a bit of time at home for a few months, so I thought I might do a few astrology updates because we're going through really, potent time in the astrology of this planet that we're on. And it's presenting lots of really strong energies that are giving us the ability to learn and go beyond. But it'll be easy to get caught in the negativity of the energy rather than the positivity because the masses have been trained to do that. Like they're still watching the news, they're still eating the processed food, they're still, under the influence of water that's been contaminated and air that's been contaminated. So they can only do their best with what they've been given. And so the majority of our Western civilization is going to find it really easy to fall into the negativity of the pattern of what the energy is presenting. But those of us who are in a different situation due to whatever, who would know? There's a positiveness in the changes that are about to unfold, in that we're giving the opportunity, like the door is opened to present new systems and new ways of doing things, because that's where we're at right now. Our monetary system's about to change in a big way, which will ricochet onto the financial, ricochet onto lifestyle. There's some massive changes on their way. And so I thought I'd bring up the astrology chart and have a look at it and say, well, what's going on that's bringing about all these energies on a scientific level? Because these are all the scientific elemental energies that pass from us to these other massive planets of energy. And so, yeah, so I've got today's chart up. I'm looking with the houses. If you don't live in the Whitsunday area, it's not really pertinent to you. You'd have to cast the chart for your area because it changes the area of where the houses sit. And so the massive, the most notable planet right now in the astrology is Pluto, to me anyway, as an interpreter of what I'm seeing. And right now in this Whitsunday area, Pluto is right on the cusp of the ascendant. And so when you wake up in the morning, when you're ascending, you're coming into knowing. It's kind of like a time of innocence. And then on the opposite angle, when you're descending, it's like when you go to sleep at night and you're just sinking down into the next chapter. It's like a completion. And so here we are. We've got Pluto on one side coming through the ascension, but it's in such a dynamic energy of being in Capricorn that the influence is that the system is collapsing. And how do we know that? 29 degrees of Capricorn. So it's the end. Sorry, I'm pointing this way, but this is where the chart is. It's easier for me to have the chart in front of me. You're going to put, I don't even know if you can just see that. It's right. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, I'll get it. I'll do a photo of it and put it up separate. Okay. So the Pluto, Capricorn. Capricorn is all about the structure and system of society. It's the career, place of service to community. Whereas when you tap into Aquarius, it's like about doing things a bit differently. It's also about community, and it's an air sign, but it's moving into the ether field, and it's taking Saturn's influence that has come from Capricorn into Aquarius into a higher octave. And so we've got to clean up the old first. And so, as you would have noticed, it's becoming very obvious and transparent how the system doesn't work anymore. And Pluto is all about transformation, okay, and death, life and death. And so the influence of Pluto being in Capricorn is that it's transforming the system. But to do that, it's got to reveal so everyone can see exactly what's not working in the system. And then when Pluto cuts back into Aquarius, then it'll be time to build a new system. So right now, it's going to be very easy over the next 2-3 months while Pluto finishes off in Capricorn to fall into the fight with what isn't right. But we've got to remember that Pluto's just showing everybody what isn't working. We don't need to fight it because it's an old system. It doesn't exist. It's reached its potentiality. It's finished. And so we can waste ourselves in that fighting energy, which means we're going to have to be a victim. We're going to have to be a bully, a victim, a bully. It's playing with our ego. Or we can get ready for the Aquarian energy that's about to happen and just sit tight. I don't know. It depends on each individual's path to where they'll put their energy right now whilst everything's been revealed. But this only happens till November, and then Pluto is going to go into Aquarius. And for us, where we live in the Whitsundays, that'll be right at the end of the whole zodiac wheel. So it'd be interesting to see when Pluto actually does walk into the first house, because that'll be a total new beginning for the Whitsunday area. So let's have a look at another planet. Let's look. All right. So we've got Saturn and Uranus in Pisces. And so, oh no, sorry, Neptune. Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. Now, Neptune's home is Pisces. It's been there for ages. But it's coming to the end of Pisces. It's at 28 degrees. And so that's quite a potent time. And Neptune inspires us to it's the highest octave of our emotional self. And so it inspires us to walk on a different emotional level. And so if the way you're dealing with your emotions right now isn't really working for you, there's an opportunity to go up a level. And so the way I've experienced it, and can best explain it, but you'll have to work out your own technique, is that you can stay in the energy you're in, or you go, okay, let's step above it. And so when you step above it, you look back at it and you can see it a bit differently. It makes more sense. Like move beyond it into a different field of way of being, way of thinking. And you'd find things will change quite dramatically, quite quickly. And that's the beauty of Neptune in Pisces. It's spiritual. It's in tune with the etheric field. It's in tune with Great Spirit. And then we've also got Saturn in there. And so it's really pushing us to, when we're looking at our boundaries that we've set in our life and how we work within the conditions that are presented, it's saying, well, spiritually, how do you feel about that? Is that working for you? Tune into your intuition, have a listen to your intuition, listen to the feelings coming through your body. And they're going to help you to recalibrate these boundaries and conditions as Pluto gives us the opportunity to transform them. And so you can see how this potentially tricky time has a lot of ability to transform and change in a really positive way for us. And so they're in the second house. And so money, food, home, all those value systems, they're going to be affected as we transition through this period. Now we've got that's not anything special. Well, for us in the Sundays, Uranus in Taurus is in the house of home, which is the fourth house. And so, given that the whole system is revealing itself, you might feel drawn to finding how to be an individual and being free in your own home. Like what is it at home that allows you to feel like you're at home? If you don't feel at home when you're there, well, what changes can you make? Like to give an example, I'm a gypsy. I go away a lot. I spend a lot of time on the road. And when I'm home, I just love being home. And that's because I've created it in a way that I can totally relax and feel comfortable, individual, free, and all of those elements. But that's taken years to develop. And I've just chosen little steps at a time. Like like sitting on the couch in the morning watching the sun come up. And so I've set up an area where I could do that. Great. First part of the day sorted. Tick. And then over the years I've developed more and more that allows me to just feel really comfortable in my own home. Okay, so the influence for that is there. Now this is interesting. Jupiter's actually in Gemini right now. And Jupiter is all about how we deal with when there's no conditions or boundaries happening. So with the transparency revealing the true unself-sustaining society that we're living in, system that we're governed by, in that all being presented, Jupiter is then going, all right, well, what do we know? What do we know to go forward? Because Jupiter is also related to good luck and good fortune. And so we've got good fortune shining over us. What do we know that we can put forward to bring about change? Everything's been shown to us that doesn't work right now. You could look at all the different systems and do your own assessment of where they're at and what you know to be true now. How do you want it to be? Start walking in the direction of how you'd like it to be. Might be a tiny step. So you might want a world in which kids learn whatever they want to learn at school and they're really nourished with healthy food and blah, blah, blah. Well, then take a step in that direction. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to drop a box of apples off once a week to the local school to share with the kids in the school, kids that might not normally get fruit. It could be cut up for morning breakfast time for those that don't really get much fresh fruit. So you've stepped in the direction of how you want it to be. So then it can be that way. That it is that way. Okay. And so we're the creators. We're the ones that have formed what we've formed. So let's form what we want next. And Mars is in Cancer, which is really nice because the flavor of Cancer is the home, it's the family, it's nourishment and feeling safe and yet feeling everyone else's feelings to the level that we can actually take charge and go forward on a humane way and do things a bit differently. And so it's a cracker of time for our local community to come together and form a new structure, a new system that allows us all to feel safe at home, basically, is what I'm seeing in the chart, today's chart, given that, things like the sun will move and the inner planets will move over the next few weeks. But for right now, this is what I'm seeing. The moon is opposite Pluto. And so Pluto's, transforming everything, showing everything for how it doesn't work. It could be, it's also known as like the god of war. It could be promoting war, and, Mars likes to help in on that. But anyway, with the moon, it's opposite the transformer. And so there's a lot of emotion happening as a result of this transformation happening. The moon's in Leo, so it's very expressive. So don't be surprised if people are reactive out there, if they're loud in their expression. Let them roar and rage, and then when they're finished, make sure you give them a hug because it's tricky times for people. Not everyone has the skills to be able to process emotion on a deep and intense level. So let's hold space for everyone right now with what's happening instead of going at them. Like someone has a go at you and then, wow, I've got to give you that back. Well, if you're up for holding it for a second, just hold it, let them let go and calm down, and then transmute it and hold that person. How can you do it different next time? It's a time of great learning right now and evolution. Now, what we've also got is Mercury's just moved into Libra and is conjunct the Sun. Like I said, these inner planets, they move a lot quicker. But for today and for the next couple of days, Mercury in Libra means that the way we're thinking, communicating is like it's got to be fair and just. It needs to be balanced. And that's influencing our thinking right now. Libra is an air planet, so it's about thinking. It's not necessarily about doing, but it's hand in hand with the sun, which is our personality. And so it's about us being fair and just. And so on a positive note, it's about finding our authenticness. What is it that makes you to be a human? With all this AI coming in, what makes it AI and what makes us human? It's time to actually ask that question. A lot of the questions we've been asking have been the wrong questions. And whenever all these changes have been coming in with AI, people getting distracted by the fight and what isn't. What is that AI is going to have some amazing benefits. Also, at the same time, what makes us human is going to come to light. Like, yeah, just that. And so moving ahead, we got Venus right at midheaven in Scorpio. Little twist there. Like Scorpio's intense, life and death, deep feelings. And Venus is in there, which is the female, the feminine, the goddess, the creative, the receiver, and it's right on the midheaven. So it's happening right in that moment, that intense feeling of the feminine energy, so it's casting an influence over everything and creating a square with Jupiter. So when there's no conditions available, it's easy to feel very intensely. And with Pluto, it's squaring Pluto as well. And so Pluto's revealing the system for the inefficient system that it is, an unfair system. And Venus is feeling it intensely. The feminine in us is really feeling it intensely. So in the big picture, there's a lot of air and water in the chart, not so much fire and earth. And so that's why this week in particular, it's just haven't felt like doing anything. When you've given yourself the choice to actually sit back and do nothing. It is just such a peaceful moment, and so many epiphanies. And when we look at the elements available, well, it makes sense. Air and water, they're massive. There's so much air and water right now. And so air thinking and communicating, water is feeling. And also in the modes, there's a lot of fixed, and fixed is about routine and doing things the same way over and over. And so that's our friend right now. Use your routines to pass through this intense time and energy we're passing through. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you because I got the chart up to have a look at for myself. And, on and up, how do you want it to be? Instead of what you don't want to happen and getting distracted by pouring all your energy into that topic, and so giving it energy, what do you want to happen? Pour your energy in there. As the intense energies of feelings flow through you, just kick back and allow them to flow through you. Don't fight them. Just allow them to come through you. You don't have to get rid of them straight away. Allow them to come through you. Sit quietly, and then you will. If you don't fight it, you'll feel it pass through you and transmute. If you fight it, then it gets stuck in there, and that's when you want to project and pass it on. So take some moments for you. This next month, October, is going to be quite intense, and it's going to build in time. It's got the potential to reset the whole financial market, which I do believe it will happen overseas by the end of October. So the digital currency is on its way, if you can call it a currency. It's just a new way, whatever. We're more interested in what we want to happen. So, yeah, hope you got something out of that. Feel free to comment, subscribe to my channel, and yeah, big loves to you all. Be nice to yourself. Love yourself. Okay. Ciao.